Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. The time is 1:17 p.m. The date is May 19th of 2022. This is a hearing before the Liquor Control Commission for the State of Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection. My name is Scott Matteo. I am the attorney that is involved in the matter. I'm introducing the case in lieu of our designated hearing officer who has yet to attend. We are hopeful that she will be attending momentarily. But the purpose that we are here for, the reason why we're here today is to hold a hearing regarding a remonstrance in the matter of Sunil Kumar or Patel, permittee of Sunny's Liquor, located at 221 Bull Hill Lane, Unit A2, West Haven, Connecticut. 06516, case number 2022-127. Again, this is a hearing on a remonstrance. It is being held pursuant to section 30-39C of the Connecticut General Statutes. All testimony will be taken under oath or affirmation, but at this point, it probably makes sense to turn the proceeding over to our control commissioners. We do have a quorum for the hearing, so they'll be handling the matter at this point. So, Commissioner Boletto.
Thank you. I'm Commissioner Nick Boletto, and with me is Commissioner John McKinney. Thank you. Anyone who's going to testify, could you please all raise your right hand?
Bear with me just one moment. Commissioner, I'm going to move my witness over, and also I just received notice that that hearing officer Steiber is on the phone, so we're going to try to connect her in here.
Hi, all. Sorry, this is Caitlin. She just called me. She was in another matter that ran over and lost track of time. She's about to hop on now.
Okay. Thank you. Scott, why don't we at least swear everybody in, if you don't mind?
Sure.
If everybody who's going to testify, please raise your right hand. Anybody planning on speaking today? Thank you. The testimony you give is going to be true, and that you attest that everything you say is going to be true today. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, thank you.
I see that hearing officer Steiber is here. I will promote her to panelist. Okay, she's now here as a panelist.
Commissioner Steiber, we were getting to the point where actually maybe you should you could re-swear everybody in, because I forgot the part of the penalty of perjury on the attest. So if you want to just, we're right there. So if you want to do that again, that would be great.
Okay, I first of all, I have to apologize profusely. I was tied up in another matter unrelated to liquor, and I apologize. But for the record, my name is Ann Steiber. I am the hearing officer today, Thursday, May 19th, in the matter of Sunny's Liquor. I assume that that's all been, everyone's been identified. Okay, so at this point, I will just swear in anyone who will be testifying today. So if you could please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you are about to give concerning the case now in hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? Okay, thank you. Again, I apologize. So it sounds like you were just starting, so for the record, we start with the remonstrant, the agent for the remonstrant, and if that person wishes to call any witnesses, they may, and then we turn it over to Sunny's Liquor. So is the agent for the remonstrant present here?
Yes, you're mute, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay, can you please identify yourself for the record?
my name is Portia Bias.
Okay, thank you. And if you would like to proceed.
Hearing Officer Stiper, just for the record, I haven't had a chance yet to have my witness testify yet and just present the report. And
I'm sorry, I really apologize.
okay.
I'm a little thrown off coming in late. I apologize. Attorney Matteo, if you could please identify yourself for the record.
Sure. Attorney Scott Matteo, Department of Consumer Protection, Liquor Enforcement Matters.
Okay, thank you. And if you would call your witness.
Sure. I just have one witness today, and that's Agent Driffin. Good afternoon, Agent Driffin. How are you?
Well, how are you?
Good, thanks. Could you please state your name, title, and business address for the record?
My name is Racine Driffin. I'm a liquor control agent with the Department of Consumer Protection.
Great, thank you. And I'm a little flustered too. I wanted to, just as a matter of housekeeping, introduce the hearing notice, which I will share with the screen with everybody. All right. Can you see the document, Hearing Officer Stiper and the commissioners?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'd like for this document to be admitted as Commission's Exhibit 1.
Okay, we'll mark that as Commission Exhibit 1.
Great, thank you. Sorry about that, Agent Driffin. So how long have you been working with liquor controllers?
This year will be 30 years.
And is it part of your job to review remonstrances on new applications?
Yes,
Are you familiar with the requirements of the laws concerning the remonstrances?
yes,
And are you familiar with the requirements of holding a package store?
yes,
Did you review the remonstrance that was filed against Sunny's Liquor?
yes,
Did you verify that it was a valid remonstrance signed by 10 persons in the town as required?
I did.
Okay. And how did you verify that, just for the record?
Receiving a copy of the remonstrance, the signatures from the agent for the remonstrance, and then contacting those people and verifying that those were legitimate addresses in the city of West Haven.
Was the remonstrance received in a timely manner?
Yes, it was.
On what date was the remonstrance filed?
September 28th,
What year, just for the record?
2021, I'm sorry.
Thank you. And was this remonstrance on a new application, a renewal, or a removal?
A new application.
Were there any or have there been any enforcement issues while the application was pending?
No, I have not.
Can you briefly explain the substance of the concerns raised by the remonstrance?
The proposed premise is within 1,000 feet of a daycare. They share a parking lot, and this was in contradiction to these zoning statutes that required a minimum of 1,500 feet between a package store and an educational facility, school or daycare, et cetera.
Isn't it true that the applicant is required to get their local zoning authority to sign off on the application itself and confirm that the local zoning ordinance do not prohibit the sale of alcoholic beverages at the desired location?
That is true.
And didn't the applicant do that here before they submitted their application to the department for
He did.
review?
Yes, he did.
So in light of that, and in light of the fact that the remonstrants were alleging that the approval was contrary to West Haven zoning ordinances, did liquor control take any additional steps to confirm what was being alleged?
Not until we were contacted by the city of West Haven.
Okay. And why did the city contact you?
After the remonstrance was filed, the city contacted our department and asked that we essentially put a hold on the approval process for a permit at that location, because they needed to look into why the signature was originally given to the applicant, in that the school was less than 1,500 feet to the proposed package store.
Okay. And so after they made this request of you, what happened, subsequent to that?
We stopped everything that we were doing. I no longer continued my investigation for several months while the city took care of how they were going to handle the original approval on Mr. Patel's application. We were notified in February that they had consulted their legal team and were going to proceed with the approval for the package store at that location. And then we proceeded with allowing Mr. Patel to operate under a provisional permit until this matter could be settled at the remonstrance hearing.
Okay. So then, thank you for providing that explanation. I just want to then introduce a few more exhibits into the record here. Well, I guess my first question before I get to it is, did you write a report detailing, the occurrences of the remonstrance being filed and, the subsequent deliberations by West Haven and their the ultimate resolution of how they were going to go about handling this approval of the permit in their zoning ordinances?
So there was no report during the time that they were trying to figure it out. My report was issued after they had made their decision to allow the premise to operate as a package store.
I'm going to show you a copy of the document. Do you see this document, Agent Griffin?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize it?
Yes, this is my, it's called an LC-18. It's my agent's report regarding the remonstrance.
Okay. I'd like for this document to be admitted into the record as Commission's Exhibit B. Or 2, excuse me, I guess it's 2.
Okay, we'll mark it as Commission Exhibit 2.
Okay. And Agent Griffin, I just wanted to ask you one particular question about your report. There's a notation that, let me just see so I can get it up in front of me. There's a note about West Haven zoning approving the location ultimately in February by waiver. Do you know if that's the precise terminology or mechanism that West Haven used here regarding their ultimate decision to allow this location to exist at its current location?
I'm not sure that the word waiver is the exact term for them. I had several conversations and corresponded via email with Chris Soto of the zoning department.
Okay.
And in his explanation of what was going on, there was a special hearing where permission was allowed for Mr. Patel. I used the word waiver of the qualifications regarding the distances between the two in my report.
But at the end of the day, you received confirmation from West Haven that in spite of whatever zoning ordinance may have been, been on the books at the time, West Haven was still going to allow Mr. Patel to operate his package store at this location.
Yes.
Okay. And then just one last document I'd like to show you. Can you see this document?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize it?
Yes, it's the remonstrance report that was filed in September of 2021.
All right. I'd like for this to be admitted as Commission's Exhibit 3.
It will also mark that as Exhibit 3.
And Agent Driffin, just one last question for you. Aside from the remonstrance, are there any other issues that are preventing the final approval of the permit in this case?
No, there are not.
All right, thank you, Agent Driffin. I don't have any further questions for you at this point.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Beletto, do you have any questions for Agent Driffin?
No, we do not have a copy of the report or the zoning, whatever the zoning decision was that West Haven.
No,
Right?
no, we do not.
We do not, okay.
Okay, Commissioner McKinney, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, no, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Agent Griffin. Attorney Matteo, do you have anything further at this time?
Nothing further. I did want to call your attention to the fact that the applicant does have an attorney present with him today, Attorney Porto. I just wanted to make you aware in case Attorney Porto or Ms. Bias had any questions for Mr.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Porto, do you have any questions for Agent Driffin?
I do. Thank you. For the record, my name is Joe Porto. I represent Sunny Patel. I practice with Perrette, Porto, Parisi, and Caldwell. My office is located at 2319 Whitney Avenue, Hamden, Connecticut. I do have questions. However, I believe Ms. Baez is the moving party, so I would prefer to question the witness after Ms. Baez has completed her direct examination.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that would be proper. I apologize. Ms. Bias, do you have any questions for Agent Driffin?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
I'm new to this, so
so basically, if you had questions about her testimonies, you know, anything she discussed just now, you could ask her questions, and you can ask any other witness questions about their testimony after they've concluded speaking. So you know, for any future possible witnesses, but thank you. Okay, so Attorney Porto, I will turn it over to you now.
Thank you. Again, Joe Porter for the record. Agent Griffin, just a couple of questions. One, I'd just simply like to confirm that you completed your investigation. You testified that you did not take any enforcement action against Mr. Patel.
Correct.
And you testified that you have knowledge with regard to the laws for a remonstrance, right?
Correct.
And that would include knowledge of Connecticut General Statute 30-39C.
Correct.
And that's generally the statute under which this commission is hearing this remonstrance.
Yes.
Would you agree, Agent Driffin, that the statute reads that the commission can hear a remonstrance containing any objection to the suitability of such application or proposed place of business, provided any such issue is not controlled by local zoning?
That's what it says.
That is what it says, right? And when you mentioned in your report, I think you might have referred to a statute with regard to the proximity of a package store relative to tutor time. Did you actually mean a local West Haven zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Right. So you would agree with me then that the issue of proximity, the location of the package store to tutor time, is an issue that falls exclusively within the province of the West Haven Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes.
And so by definition, pursuant to the statute, is it, in your opinion, as a person familiar with the law regarding remonstrance, not an issue for this commission, correct?
The commission can see any complaints based on a remonstrance petition at their leisure.
Though the statute does state, so long as not controlled by a local zoning regulation.
I believe that they can hear it. I don't believe that it prohibits them from hearing the testimony of the remonstrance.
I see. Mr. Patel has been operating with a provisional permit. I believe that was issued since March of this year.
Yes,
Based on your investigation, his store has been open, correct, and running?
yes.
During your investigation, were you made aware of any adverse impact or effect through the operation of his package store upon tutor time?
I have not.
Have you heard from any other complainants other than Ms. Baez?
I have not.
Did you conduct an inspection, Ms. Driffin, in the field?
Yes, I have been to the location several times during different stages of his renovations.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a poorly phrased question, but you understood what I meant. So when was the last time you've been to the actual location, 221 Bull Hill Lane, if you can recall?
I believe it was at the end of April. I don't have the exact date.
When you went there, did you have the occasion to look at Mr. Patel's package store?
Yes,
How did it appear? Just generally speaking, was it clean? Was it orderly? Was it well kept?
yes. He had conducted extensive renovations to the interior. So yes, it did look very clean, very
And
neat.
I'm so sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
That's okay.
How did it appear from the outside?
It was clean and well maintained.
Now, the package store and the daycare center, they share a common parking lot, is that correct?
That's true.
But they are not immediately contiguous to one another.
No, they are not.
In fact, they're
Two
not
separate.
even in the same building, are they?
They are not.
I believe those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Agent Driffin. Okay, Attorney Matteo, do you have anything further at this time?
Madam Hearing Officer, I am going to disclose at this time that Porto and Parisi has represented me in the past. I have actually never met the attorney. I've dealt with his father and his brother. If anyone would like me to recuse myself, I shall do so from this hearing.
Well, Commissioner Boletto, it's your decision. It's based on whether you feel that you have a conflict.
I don't feel I do. It was a couple of years ago, but if anybody here does, I certainly will recuse myself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your disclosure. If you've had no direct dealings with Attorney Porto and you feel there's no potential conflict at all, then it's like I said, it's in your discretion whether you would like to stay or not.
Then I would stay if there's no objection.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any comment, Commissioner McKinney, on that matter?
No, I agree with your interpretation. It's up to the commissioner. I certainly don't feel that it warrants disqualification.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, then we'll proceed again. Attorney Matteo, do you have anything further?
Oh, sorry, hearing officer. No, nothing further at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Baez, now we will turn it over to you for you to present, whatever issues you have concerning Sonny's Liquor. And again, you can call any witnesses. If you have any other fellow remonstrants present here today, they can testify as well. So
Okay,
I'll turn it over.
I'm sorry, do I call the witness first or do I speak first?
Well, you're the agent for the remonstrance. So if you have like an opening statement, if you want to outline your concerns, you can do that. Otherwise, you can start calling witnesses.
Okay, yeah, just really brief. My name is Portia Bias, and I object to Sonny's liquor store location at 221 Bull Hill Lane, West Haven, Connecticut. I'm objecting because of the location being next to a learning center, daycare learning center, and playground. I believe it's in violation of the law. And besides, being in violation of the law, I believe it's morally incorrect demographically. I believe there are risk factors involved here, being that it is next to a daycare and that the school bus does have to go by the liquor store, which the school bus, of course, contains school-age children. And I believe a protective factor would help by the limit of alcohol in the particular plaza. So I think basically, that's my reasoning for objection, is the location. And by law, it should not have been permissible. And I'd like to call a witness, Sean Brown, if I may. And I also have 2 exhibits.
Okay, and I assume all witnesses have been sworn in. Not everyone shows up on the camera, so I'm just going to verify with every witness that they were sworn in before they.
I don't think Mr. Brown was put on camera to be sworn in, so I think you should just presume that he wasn't, and we can swear him in.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Let me promote him to panelist so he can show up.
Hello.
Excuse me, sir, Mr. Brown, can you identify yourself for the record?
Yeah, I'm Sean Brown from West Haven, Connecticut, 06516. I'm an advocate of West Haven.
Okay, and I believe, were you sworn in for your testimony at the beginning of the hearing?
Yeah, I don't think they saw my hand raised.
Okay, so I'm sorry, you did or did not get sworn in?
I don't think they knew I was even on.
Okay, I'm going to swear you in at this time.
Fine, that's fine.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you're about to give concerning the case now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Bias, you can proceed with questioning Mr. Brown.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Brown. Could you please respond with an answer as far as your opinion on the liquor store being in the same complex or plaza as the daycare learning center and the playground?
Yes. I'm going to use my civil rights to speak on this. I understand that the liquor store was put in there simply because of the amount of feet it was away from the playground, which is irrelevant to this cost. They're in the same parking lot. There are risks involved here. I don't know why we need to have a discussion about alcohol, kids in Black and brown communities as well. We have graduated, we thought we have graduated from that time. Things have not changed. We keep liquor and guns in Black and brown communities. Now, I understand how many feet it was away. That's beside the point. It's in the same parking lot. If it was across the street from the parking lot of Tudor time, okay, we're not thinking about how many feet is it away from the children that go to their parents' cars, okay? We're not thinking about the mingling of people buying alcohols, how we could say irresponsible some people are, not all of them, that go to these places and could cause risk of injury to a child or a family. We're not thinking about that. That's the civil liberties. That's the beauty of civil liberties here. We speak, but the problem is when lawyers get involved, they go by the rules. These guys are here to make money. This is about our lives. This is about our children's lives. I highly disagree with this package store to be in that parking lot, because even though it may be 1,000, 1,500 feet from the playground, what about the families that come out of that place and got to go to their cars? They have, that's under 1,000 feet. We're not thinking about that. They shouldn't be in the same area, walking in the same lot as the customers that come out of a package store or go into a package store or just hang around a package store. I highly disagree with this. And if they don't stop it, I can care less if they sue the city. This has to do with the children. We will protest this and we will be back.
Thank you very much. That was going to be my next question. How did you feel the city of West Haven handled the matter, particularly planning and zoning?
I think it was very poorly. I think it was very poorly done. I think because they have no other means of economic development, they took whatever they can get. And that had nothing to do with the people. This administration is showing it, and the country knows what it's been doing. They don't care about people. So they put like this here. It's about
Mr. Brown, you're breaking up. We're not, it's not clear. Your camera, oh, okay. Your camera was frozen and we couldn't really understand what you were saying. All right.
Well, the city is poorly handling any type of economic development. So when they're desperate, they do stuff like this. West Haven has shown lately that everybody knows in the country, pretty much in the country, what West Haven is doing. They don't care about the people. So they allow a business like this to go in the parking lot because they say it's available. That has nothing to do with the people. They're getting ready to harm the people and they don't care. So as far as I'm concerned, when they're irresponsible, I think the state should crack the whip on them because they're already doing it because of their lack of responsibility to the people.
And just to back that up, speaking to planning and zoning and Chris Soto, he did, or according to what he said to me, it was an oversight. So how do you feel about the city of West Haven admitting it was an oversight on their part and still giving a provisional license, even still after the fact?
Was very, very irresponsible. Again, very irresponsible, and the state should step in and change that.
I just want to clarify one thing. The zoning department did not issue a provisional permit. That came from liquor control. Department of Consumer Protection Liquor Control would have issued the provisional permit. Zoning gave approval, their zoning approval for the location of the liquor store. And I just want to be clear with one last thing. The commission, it's not our job to second guess the actions of any towns or city zoning. I just want to make sure you understand. We don't have the authority.
No, I don't understand that because the state is involved with what's going on now. What's the sense of having a state liquor commission or anything on the state if the city's going to do it and there's nothing the state can do about it? I don't understand that.
Sir, I'm just clarifying what we have the authority to do and what we don't have the authority to do.
Okay. And,
so we have the authority.
My right to speak is I disagree with that whole thing. I mean, I pay taxes. What am I paying taxes for if nobody's going to challenge what the city is doing wrong? What's the sense of having this hearing if you're just going to allow things to just happen because it's okay? The city handles it.
Again, my only point was I just wanted you to understand our jurisdiction.
No, I understand. But I'm just my rights.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Bias, do you have any further questions for Mr. Brown?
Mr. Brown, do you have any closing comments?
Any closing comments? We need to get away from the old times. Putting liquor stores and gun stores in Black and brown communities, as well as children of color. I think that's wrong. To this day in the year 2022, we're still acting like this is 1950. If we don't graduate from this, how do we call this America? Because I don't like any of this. This is all totally wrong. And I know a lot of you, some of you have kids, even grandkids. Think about what's going on. Think about what we're dealing with. Think about what's going on in our city. You've all read the paper or the news. We need some help. And we need you to help us with this. If you can't help us with this, this was a worthless hearing. And it just goes to show nothing has changed in the system. And we will be back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner McKinney, do you have any questions for Mr. Brown?
No, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Boletto, do you have any questions for Mr. Brown?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Porto, do you have any questions for Mr. Brown?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Brown, good afternoon. My name is Joe Porto. I represent Mr. Patel. Just a few questions. The package store has been open for about 4 weeks. And we appreciate very much the opinion testimony that you offered. Do you have any evidence of any detrimental effect that the package store has had on tutor time?
No, I don't. You just opened, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In due time, I probably will. Who knows? It's just, I don't like taking risks. That's why these laws are put in place, because of risk factors. Doesn't say it's always going to happen. It just says there's risk factors.
Right. So your thinking is that there's a potential chance at some point, at some time
It could
in the
be.
future, somebody might
It
do
could be.
something. Right.
It could be.
But
I
nothing.
mean, Black and brown been fighting this for years about putting liquor stores and gun stores in our neighborhoods.
Now, Mr. Brown, did you go to the Planning and Zoning Commission hearing when this application was heard?
No, I didn't.
You had the opportunity to
No,
go.
I've read all the paperwork. I've actually had a conversation with Portia Bias. And I do have an understanding what's going on. At the bottom, at the end of the day, it's a liquor store in a Black and brown community around kids. That's enough evidence for me.
Okay. But sir, just my question is, you had the opportunity to go to the hearing and to voice your concern before the Planning and Zoning Commission. Correct?
In a way, yeah, in a way. Sometimes the message doesn't get out to everybody. They kind of keep it, they keep those type of things very quiet.
I see. Okay.
I wasn't aware of their hearing. I was aware after the fact. Publicly, they don't put those things out. So here I am.
Publicly, they don't put those things out. So is it your testimony that the application wasn't publicized in the paper?
It wasn't publicized to where I can get access to it.
Other than the location, you have no objection to this, to the package store, right? Your problem is just the location.
Correct. If you did it on a post road, I wouldn't say anything. You wouldn't even hear from me.
No further questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your testimony.
You're welcome.
Ms. Bias, I'll turn it over to you now for your next witness.
I just had a couple of exhibits.
Oh, okay. I assume you shared those with Attorney Matteo prior to the hearing. Is that correct?
I did, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Let me get those up for everybody. So Ms. Bias, you sent 2 exhibits. One was a a photograph of a written document. One was a photograph of the parking lot. Which one did you want to offer first?
We could look at the written by the parents, the petition.
Sure, let me get that up. Okay. Let me share my screen.
Are we all set?
Yeah, can you see Ms. Bias?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I don't have a lot of time on my hands. I'm a very busy person. I do a lot of advocacy work also. And, you know, I have a job. I also am still in school, higher education. So I, you know, took the time to go down to the area where the liquor store is and tutor time. And I happened to catch a couple of parents. And again, as you can see, it says we, the parents of a child at tutor time, child care and learning center, object to Sonny's liquor store being in the same plaza as the school and also around a playground. And also when I went into the school, they said that they had started a petition. They had gotten in touch with the commissioner of the state commission of the Liquor Control Commission. And I believe they were told it was too late because it had already gone past the date. So I caught the sign around August if there was an objection. And again, this is evidence of parents that have a concern about the liquor store being in the same facility as their children. Can you bring up the next exhibit, please?
Just for the record, we will mark that as remonstrance exhibit 1.
Sure,
We'll get the next exhibit up.
thanks.
That's what I wanted to see. Okay.
Okay, and this is just a picture of the liquor store and the tutor time. As you can see, I captured it in one setting. And as you can see, the school bus and which way the school bus is heading. So that's telling you that the school bus has to go by the liquor store. Who's to say if something was in front of that school bus and they had to stop and their stop had to be in front of the liquor store? So now you have children gazing around and you have lights flashing through the store window. I think that would attract attention. I mean, because that's what it's for, right? Marketing. So right there, you have children looking at it. Who knows what's going through their minds? Anyway, so then you have the school bus that is either going to let the children off in front of the school or pick them up. And again, the parent can park anywhere in this parking lot. And you can see that liquor store from the school. And you can mark that as exhibit 2, I believe.
Yes, thank you. We'll mark that as remonstrance exhibit 2. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Bias, do you have anything further at this time?
As in like closing remarks or something?
No. I want to give both the commissioners and Attorney Porto a chance to ask you any questions they may have, but you know, just you have no other witnesses or exhibits, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Boletto, do you have any questions for Ms. Bias?
Yes, the owners of the daycare, do you know if they complained or if they signed any petition or if they put in a concern about this? Just,
I did go in there and I did speak to the director who in turn, got in touch with their lawyer because I wanted to take pictures of the playground, but because, you know, there are small children in the school, I couldn't snap any pictures. But yes, they did let me know that they weren't happy about it and they did want to do something about it. And again, what they were told was the liquor store had already been approved.
okay, that I understand, but, okay, so they, as far as you know, they did not fight the zoning, nor did they know about the zoning.
It was hard for me to find out about that, about hearing and zoning, because when I did call City Hall, they had no information. And I found out that day there was going to be a hearing. And when I called City Hall, no one knew anything. And I even have a contact person that I reached out to who is a city clerk or, yeah, city clerk who knew nothing about it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Quick question, the playground, is the playground in back of that building where the daycare is, or is it to the side? Do you know? Ms.
Are you
Byers?
talking to me?
Yes.
I do not know. I could not get any picture. I don't know where it is. All I know is when
It's
I
more or
did,
less in the back.
when I spoke to Chris Soto, who is the director, he has a position in planning and zoning. He said that he looked at it from above. So he himself knows the distance. He himself, I spoke to him myself, and he says he is aware of the distance. And again, it was their oversight.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Commissioner
welcome.
McKinney, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Baez, have you been by the liquor store when it's been open for sale during the day or at night?
You mean while businesses,
Yeah.
while business is open?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went by and I took pictures.
Okay. And have
Yeah.
you ever seen people outside of the liquor store?
Hi, have I ever what? I didn't hear you.
Have you seen people loitering outside of the liquor store? Are there people standing around outside the liquor store drinking alcohol? Are there people hanging out in the parking lot because of the liquor store?
The short while I was there, I didn't see any of that.
Okay. And do you happen to know the hours of the tutor time?
I would be guessing.
Well, you
If
took a picture with the bus. What time of day did you take that picture?
That would have to have been after 3 because that's when I get out of school. I'm a paraprofessional in
Okay.
West Bay school system.
Would you happen to know, and I'm making assumptions here, and if you don't know, that's fine, but are the kids at tutor time after 5 o'clock at night?
They had tutor time, believe it or not, had offered me a job, and you are there until the last child leaves, whatever time that may be.
Okay, but you don't know whether tutor time has kids at night?
I don't know if any school open at night.
Okay. Okay. And when you talked to some of the parents outside tutor time who signed that note, had they mentioned that they had seen anything, or were their fears just simply that there was a package store there?
Just the fact that there was a package store there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Attorney Porto, do you have any questions?
Thank you. Just a few. Ms. Baez, good afternoon. My name is Joe Porto. We haven't met. I represent Mr. Patel. Are you okay to continue? Do you need to take a break at any point?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So, Ms. Baez, similar to Mr. Brown, is it fair to say that your objection with the package store is simply its location?
Yes.
Ms. Baez, do you have any direct evidence of detrimental effect that you can testify to that you've witnessed personally with regard to the location of the package store relative to the daycare center?
I cannot personally say that, but I will address the fact that there are young lives with young minds, and are we able to understand what is going through the minds of a young child?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're asking me a question or not. My question to you is, do you have any direct evidence of any detrimental effect that has that you've seen and you can testify to from a firsthand basis as a result of the location of the package store relative to the daycare center? If the answer is no, then the answer is no.
That wasn't my observation.
Do you have a child at the daycare center?
I do not.
So are you familiar with the drop off and pickup process with the daycare center?
The short while I was there, and I couldn't even catch every parent because it was so much of a, well, at that time of day, it was more pickup. So it was so many parents coming to pick their child up. I wasn't able to get every person's signature. So I don't know how many children are at the daycare. I would have to guess, but I could imagine over 100.
Okay. Thank you. But my
You're welcome.
question was, are you familiar with the pickup and drop off process of the daycare?
I don't know the process other than a parent would come and pick their child up and they would get in the car and leave. Other than that.
All right, well, let's talk about what you saw. So a parent cues their car, puts their car in front of the daycare center. He or she stops the car, gets out, goes to the front door. Is that correct?
That's what I did witness.
Yep, retrieves their child and they walk immediately to their car and leave?
Well, it's not that simple. When you have kids, you have to buckle them in, and then it depends on how many children you have in the daycare center. So some of the kids I have witnessed some of the parents I witnessed had more than one child, where they're putting one in the car seat. The other child is standing outside of the car, turning around and looking all over the parking lot. I've witnessed that a couple times.
Do you know if any parents left the daycare center because of the location of the package store?
No, but I could investigate that.
Okay. Now, we talked a little bit about the application that was filed by Mr. Patel with the West Haven Planning and Zoning Commission. I believe you testified towards the end of your direct that you knew there was going to be a hearing. I think you said you found out the day of the hearing. Is that correct?
That there was going to be a hearing,
Right.
not on that particular day, but there was going to be a hearing.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
You found out there was going to be a hearing for what? For the application before the Planning and Zoning Commission?
I don't know what it was going to consist of. I could just recall that there were going to be planning a meeting. That's all I can say. That's all I could recall. So immediately I called to find out about this supposedly meeting, and the clerk knew nothing about it.
Okay, so my question is this: did you attend the West Haven Planning and Zoning Commission's meeting with regard to Mr. Patel's application for a package store?
I was unaware of it. No, the answer is no.
Those are the questions I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Bias. Before I turn it over to Attorney Porto, just want to make sure at the very end, I will give both you and Attorney Porto an opportunity for any, closing statement. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. And so I assume that concludes your testimony at this time.
I had a question, but I didn't know if I was to ask you or I wait until the end.
You can go ahead and ask a question.
My question would be, how come planning and zoning was not subpoenaed to be at this hearing?
Okay, actually, you could have requested anyone from planning and zoning to attend this hearing. It's a public hearing.
Okay.
But